Hello and welcome to Not Without My Sister, the Minisode, on this glorious first day of 2021. I'm Rosemary McCabe.
And I'm Beatrice McCabe.
And today we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions, because I'm a giant cliche.
Okay, good. My first New Year's resolution is to do more of the intros because you do all of the intros and I'd like to do some. So I'd like to be able to say things like, welcome to our episode about what we're going to do differently, etc.
Why do you always sound like you're like a British cookery show host?
Why not?
Anyway, you always tell me to do the intros. You're like, you do the intro.
I didn't say a thing there. You just jumped right in.
Well, that's true.
But that's fine.
That's because I assumed because you always make me do the intros.
No, I don't.
Do you?
That's fine.
Ugh. Do you make New Year's resolutions? Or like, have you ever?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm going to actually go to my Equinox gym membership. I'm going to actually use it. I'm going to actually use my Peloton. I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to not be judgmental. I'm not going to gossip
I think you're
about
a very
people.
good person.
Thanks,
Well,
Rosemary.
yeah, you do gossip.
Oh, I'm not good. But it's more like I also think that sometimes like I say things about people or like I make jokes that I think are funny jokes and it's nothing that I wouldn't say or have not said in front of that person. And in fact, most cases it's things that I've said, actually, to correct, things that I've already said in front of a person that I know that we mutually know. But you don't necessarily know that that's the relationship I have with that person. So when I say it to you, you go, "Oh my God, what a massive bitch!" Yeah. I multiple I over many years have made the commitment to not make those jokes in front of people who don't necessarily know the context, etc.
Know the relationship.
They really misjudge me. But like, I mean, I might as well be literally making a resolution as the toilet. Like, no hope. No hope.
I might
Last
as well
about
be
20
making
minutes.
a resolution into the toilet.
20 minutes, but like, how am I even supposed to keep track of who I've made the joke to or not to? Do you know what I mean? To then be like, oh, this person doesn't know. It's like, but I mean, when I think about it really logically, I'm like, oh, the reason this person is now looking at me sideways is because they don't know that I've already told Rosemary she's a massive loser. Like joking, you know, jokingly.
Yeah. I know
That's the kind of relationship we have. And I would say to them then afterwards, like, oh my God, well, she knows she's a massive loser. I'm thinking we're all in on the joke. They're like, what a bitch.
Yeah, how mean. Have you ever made can you think of any New Year's resolutions you've ever made that you've stuck with that have been really successful? Because I wonder,
yes, Rosemary.
Aren't there these things where it's like everybody gives up on January 14th?
No, Rosemary, yes. To be an excellent mother, to be an excellent sister, to be an excellent daughter, to excel in the workplace.
I'm trying to have a serious conversation.
I know you are. I'm like, no, I'm the worst person for this. No, I make like the most lofty New Year's resolutions. I am going to drink no more wine. And by about 1 p.m. on like January the 1st, I'm like, well, it's still a weekend. I'm not back at work yet. So I'll just start from January the 3rd. It's immediately kaput. What about you, Rosemary? You seem like more responsible than I am.
Well, I do love making... Well, I love making lists.
You love making
New Year's resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love making plans and then cancelling them, but I love making lists. And New Year's resolutions fall under the heading of lists. So I do love making a New Year's resolution. There was 1 year I resolved to give up smoking.
Oh.
And I succeeded for approximately 2.5 years. But I'm not sure if that counts now, seeing as I then started smoking again.
Are you still smoking?
No. But this was like... So I gave up for, I think, 2.5 to 3 years, and then I started again. And I smoked for another year, and then I gave up again the summer before, like summer 2019, I gave up again.
I mean, on occasion, I say things like, I'm going to be, less cool and more approachable. But like, I just can't do it.
I used to always decide, like in the new year, that I was going to be like less of a hothead. Do you know what I mean? That I'm like, I'm going to really try to temper my reactions.
You're not remotely hot-headed. Highly sensitive is not hot-headed.
Well, that's kind of... It's kind of what I mean. You're such a pain.
No, but I more mean like I was immediately
not to
thinking
be so touchy or not to jump to.
But you know what,
like,
Rosemary? Then you just need to go straight to Dad. You need to bring Dad to the hospital for testing. You need to be like, hey, what's he got that I've got? Because like that's what I need removed. It's not your fault, Rosemary. It's Dad's fault.
Poor parents.
Well,
really.
Honest to God, though, honestly, as I made that last joke about being too cool, I was like, God, like everybody in school with me would be like this massive nerd. I was more like thinking, I think I probably made New Year's resolutions about like how I was going to be cooler and I was going to be like somebody that people could hang out with and somebody, you know, who was like, I hate to sound like Mom, with it. It's not even a phrase people use.
I used to always just like want to be more laid back. Do you mean that I'm like, I'm going to be cooler and less needy? But it like never ever happened.
No, but I'm thinking about, but like, what does needy even mean? Like, were you needy or did you just want to be like?
No, I was really needy, and like I used to be really jealous if my friends became friends with other people. Or
sorry,
like,
what I more mean is does neediness, like, is it actually reliant on other people or is it about you? Like, is it about you having the ability to not be? I don't mean you, I mean me or you. Me, you. Like, one of my children is currently going through a very similar phase of, like, so-and-so doesn't want me to be friends with this person. They only want to be friends with, like, they want to be friends with all my friends. They don't, every time I try and be part of the gang, you know, I was thinking about neediness. I was like, it's not about, it's more of an insecurity. It's not actually, like, what could somebody outside of you do to make you feel better if you're a needy person? Nothing.
Oh,
really.
nothing. So that's what I'm saying. I was the one who had to, like, I had to try and change from within myself. It was a personal lacking.
But like yeah, well, no, it wasn't. But what is it that makes you feel better when you're feeling needy or when you're feeling less than? Like what? Because I mean, honestly, somebody could come in and be like, "Oh, I love you and I want to hang out with you the whole time," and you'd still be like, "Well, I still feel like I wish this person would be my friend." It's not so much about the outward people, do you know?
No. It was basically, I used to read, like, there were certain books that I'd read where there would be characters in the book who like had a lot of hobbies and had a lot of kind of like a very rich interior life or something. And I imagined that if I got more confident and more, you know, assured in myself and my own abilities and my own ability, I suppose, to entertain myself and to not need people to need me.
Like
if
Beano,
that makes sense.
Beano.
What?
Like the Beano.
Actually, I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm in a really annoying therapy session. And then other times I feel like, you know, when you're in school and you're trying to make a point to the teacher and like the class clown just keeps making jokes and you're like, yeah, whatever, shut up. And everyone's laughing. But you're just like, oh, I'm trying to say something important. That's what you are.
I'm sorry, Rosemary.
You're not sorry. Like,
I'm
genuinely
crying
sorry.
with laughter. I'm genuinely sorry. I'm sorry because you were actually having a very serious conversation.
With myself, apparently.
I am sorry. So listen, earlier on you said to me one of the things you would like to maybe do this year is go back into therapy to get away from me, I suspect.
No, I mean, I didn't say it was one of my 2021 goals, but I was just more like, I wonder, should I go back to therapy?
Yeah, you were talking about like, should I do this? So I was like, is that it?
Yeah.
Because I actually think like I'd like to go into therapy because now that we talk, I'm like, I do have lots of things to talk about. I always thought before that I have nothing to talk about in therapy, but I've always wanted to go, right? I've always wanted to go to like, I mean, I've had lots of, I think psychological challenges in my life. I definitely had postnatal depression and I think, through my teens and early 20s, I was extremely, I agonized over lots of things and I wanted to go to therapy, but I also was like, I don't think I can justify this. And now I'm like, well, I don't have any time to go because I've got all these brats whose lives I revolve around, etc. And I don't get to do anything. And if I get to do anything, I'd like to go to Pilates and not therapy. But I am kind of wondering, like, should I go this year? Because apart from anything else, it'll just be another thing to do virtually and I'm sick of looking at the screen. So, but would you do it? Because I actually think... Well. But I bet your therapist actually now does everything via Zoom. So she's probably ripe to hang out with you.
Yeah, I'd say she does. I mean, the thing is, I remember when I first moved and she said, we could always do things on Skype. And I was like, I just don't think I would like that because I think basically I used to be obsessed with trying to figure out what my therapist's life was like. And I was like, I feel like I'd be looking in the background of her Skype going, what's that book on her shelf? And like, is that a cat? I wouldn't have thought she was a cat person. And like, I heard the doorbell ring and I wonder who that is. Like, I was always trying to find out things about her. And she was like,
funny.
oh my God, it was terrible. And like, she would never tell me anything.
But isn't there a whole field of study about transference? And I'm not suggesting you were transferring yourself onto your therapist, but isn't it incredibly normal to develop a fascination with your therapist? And aren't there a lot of relationships that, that begin, not because with bad therapists is what I'm saying. Because it's incredibly, it's incredibly it's not allowed within their, within the relationship. But at the same time, there is this, and it's called transference, isn't it? Where it's like you're having this therapy session and you begin to be like, this person understands me and they want to be with me and they know everything about me, etc.
Yeah,
do you feel
and you
that
also
way about me,
really
Rosemary?
trust them. I'm rolling my eyes. And you also like really trust them. But you know what was really weird? Like I remember, because I've been going to my therapist, I had been going to her for about 2 years, I think. And I remember at one point being like, oh my God, I feel like she knows me so well. And I just was obsessed with the idea that I knew nothing about her. And it used to feel kind of rude that like when I'd sit down and she'd go, how are you? How's your week been? That I'd be like, oh, but tell me about you. Do you know what I mean? Because like with your friends, you are used to going, I've been talking about myself for ages. Tell me about you. But like with her, I was basically like, tell me all about you.
And yet, like, don't people like to talk about themselves? So it's kind of funny because I'm thinking if somebody said to me, sit down and I'll happily talk about you for an hour, I'd be like, great. And I'm paying. But it's kind of weird. Once you start adding money into it, it's weird too, right? Like you're like aware that you're paying for this person to listen to you, right? So, so you do. There's a really interesting, what's that book that I read?
Here we go. What's that book I read that I can't remember the name of?
Here we go again. I think it's Dan Ariely, and I think, but he talks basically about the exchange of money and how, like, if you go, there's a whole chapter on how money confuses relationships, basically. And if you go to your neighbor and you ask for help and they help you, but if you go to your neighbor and if you then drop $15 on their porch, they feel offended, right?
Yeah.
And then the next time they won't help you. But they would help you for free and they would help you twice for free. And if you go to, and it talks about how if you go to your mother-in-law's house for dinner and you turn up with a bottle of wine, she's like, thanks a lot. But if you turn up with the $32 that the bottle of wine costs, she's like, what the hell? Are you equating my dinner to $32? And it's funny, like how, it's really interesting how it alters our perspective. And I mean, that's not the conversation around your therapist at all, but like asking somebody to sit and paying them to listen to your emotions and your thoughts and understanding, obviously they are qualified individuals. This is not the same as you're welcome to pay me $30 if you'd like to, however much you paid an hour. I'm happy to listen and give you my opinion, but like
it was 80 euro, thanks. $30.
Oh, well.
What planet are you living on?
For how long? For an hour?
Yeah, for 40 minutes. In the new year, once my poor ankle has healed, I am going to. So my goals for the new year are, well, I went to the doctor recently for like just a random checkup and they told me that something, I can't remember the precise words because I'm an idiot who never takes note of anything, but something is slightly off with my blood sugar. And she definitely used the words pre-diabetic, but also said, that's not to say that you're pre-diabetic, but you could be pre-diabetic. So you'd want to watch the sugar intake. So I'm going to try watching my sugar intake. And also doing a little bit more, well, not a little bit more Peloton, because when my ankle was healed, I was doing like 3 a week, which is great. So I'm going to try and keep doing 3 Pelotons a week.
How about some hip hop dancing? Because you were so good at that in Milan and you've been really, really, I think, looking back on that wistfully with myself.
You're really flogging a dead horse with this hip hop dancing. Just get over it.
Sorry,
a hip hop dance once at a party and you don't need to keep bringing it up.
I meant once your ankle was better. Okay, go on.
My ankle will never be better enough for me to hip hop dance ever again, sadly.
You're going to get better at deadlines.
Shut up. I'm going to finish my book.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Brilliant. I'm going to write a book more quickly than you do. That's a joke.
Oh my God, can you imagine? That would be very motivating because I've suddenly been subsumed with rage.
I can't imagine. I have zero time to even go to the bathroom. I don't think, that's not one of my goals. My goal is to...
Well, hang on. Okay. You've zero time to go to the bathroom, yet how many seasons of that show did you watch in the last 3 weeks? Wasn't there some show that you said you watched 7 seasons of?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are they mutually exclusive? That was while I was in the bathroom. Okay. While I was in the bathroom, I watched a lot of television. So next year, I plan to continue to watch a lot of television in the bathroom. I plan to
Well, it's the only door that locks, to be fair.
probably, maybe, hopefully drink a tiny bit less alcohol so that I could sleep a little bit better. Overcome my insomnia would be a good one. However, I go about doing that. I've tried lots of tips and tricks, but if anybody has any great ideas, please send them my way. Get the baby out of the bed into his own bed.
Get the baby out of the bed might come before curing the insomnia. That might help.
I think they might actually be linked. Get the baby, inverted commas, 2 years and 8 months old child into his own bed, where when I go to bed at night, he doesn't pat the pillow and say like, and look like this is now nighttime, and then point at the light with which I am reading my book for like, turn that off. So yes, I actually think there's an element here. And the other night, 2 nights ago, actually I'm in totally like, literally, it's not insomnia, it's baby in the bed. 2 nights ago, I literally woke up in the middle of the night because he whipped around, was obviously having a nightmare, wagged his finger with rage, and then whacked me in the face.
Oh my God, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you remember the night Mom had the nightmare and punched Dad in the face, gave him a black eye?
Oh, but they're so in
love. My God, it's desperate.
I know, it's brilliant.
She was having a dream that she was giving out to somebody on the bus or something. What?
Probably you. Stop talking so loud.
No, she said she was having a dream that she was giving out to these 2 girls who wouldn't give their seat up or something, and they were being really loud and obnoxious. And then one of them went to hit her, and she was like, and I just got so angry I went to hit them back, and then it was your fault.
She gave Dad a punch in the head. Okay, so basically, let's go back through my goals. Get the baby out of the bed. Yes. Get to sleep.
Yes.
Do I actually care about? No. Drink alcohol. Enjoy my life. Hang out with Rosemary again. Hang out with people Rosemary.
IRL.
See Mom and Dad.
Oh my God.
Those are my resolutions.
Actually, you know what one of my resolutions for after this is? Because I know I've talked a bit about how like I hate doing things and I hate fun and like I never want to go out. But once I've been vaccinated and this is all over, please God, I'm going to try not to say no to things.
Rosemary, honest to God, both Mom and I talked about this the other day. We were like, why does Rosemary have it in her head that she doesn't go to anything? Rosemary goes to the opening of an envelope. I think she thinks it makes her seem more like chic to have this.
Bitch. There was definitely 2 years of my life where I went to the opening of an envelope and was mad, mad for an free glass of Prosecco.
And Rosemary, there was maybe 2 months where you didn't. Okay, you're good. All right, you're good. And on that note, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this, or if you agree with me that Rosemary is maybe over-exaggerating her desire to stay at home, a la the wind in the willows, please like, subscribe, recommend us to a friend. We always enjoy that. Rate us on wherever you get your podcasts, etc.
No, only rate us on Apple Podcasts. That's where it matters. Isn't Wind in the Willows the ones with all the tiny little animals?
Apparently there is an amazing Wind in the Willows ballet, British ballet like video available that I'm going to find, because I there was a snippet on it on YouTube the other day that my child was obsessed with, that I'm going to find and share in your show notes, Rosemary.
I'll make sure to put that in the show notes for the one listener who really wants to watch it.
Oh my God, apparently it's amazing.
I'm sure. Thank you so much for listening. You'll catch us on Tuesday for a brand new full episode of Not Without My Sister. And Happy New Year. May 2021 bring a lot more joy to all of us.
Happy New Year. And as Rosemary just said, may it be a brand new year.
Goodbye. Not Without My Sister is produced by Liam Garrity, sound and original music by Don Kirkland, and our original illustration is by Lindsay Nielsen.
Not Without My Sister is a proud member of The Warren, the home of great Irish podcasts, as is my podcast, the Dublin Story Slam podcast. You can find them all over at thewarren.ie.